All right, what's up, everybody? So glad you're here. It's Brandon Walker here to put the flavor in your ear. This ain't a fantastic voyage, but I'm still on a mission trying to get your attention. R.I.P. to Coolio. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get your woman on the floor. Gotta get up to get down. Damn. I don't like losing these rappers or losing these musicians, rappers of my youth. Coolio was like 96 and 97 just all day long. You just don't realize how big Gangsta's Paradise was. It was everywhere. Everywhere. Probably easily one of the 5 biggest commercial rap songs of the 90s. Gotta be, right? You Can't Touch This. There's some bad ones. Ice Ice Baby. People bought the hell out of these things.
It's Tricky.
California Love. It's Tricky was the 80s, though, I think. Crossroads, maybe. Man. Hello, everybody. Hello to everybody. No, I'm not. I'm not stoned. I'm not high. I'm not any of that. I'm fine. I'm good. I snapped out of it when I was doing Unnecessary Roughness. I was doing that about the last hour and a half, so I am fantastic now. Couldn't be better. 888-STOOL-22. 888-STOOL-22 is the number to call and get on the show. Hello, Benjamin Russ, Matt Dixon, Troy Atwood, Raging Rider, Phil M., Samuel Thornton, anything from Tribe. Yeah, there's somebody trying to be a hipster. Nobody was saying that in the 90s. Wild Satori, Forrest, Fred Watley, Casey Waller, Smitty 2.0, Elliot Warlick, Ian Nickel, CJ Arnold. What's up, everybody? Tom W., The Degenerate Hour, Jack H37, Angelo, George the Greek, Joseph Herbert, EJ Green. Ain't no broads in there, though. Ain't no chicks. Ain't no women. Ain't no, what's the gender of Casey's baby? You will find out when you download and listen to Unnecessary Roughness. I have already spoiled it in future time. You'll find out that it is a beautiful baby. How's everybody doing? Top 5 MSU players ever? Probably Magic Johnson, Bubba Smith.
Draymond.
What?
Draymond.
Jason.
Cassius Winston.
Jason Richardson. Didn't Jason Richardson play there? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Mateen Cleaves. Is that right? Yeah, Mateen Cleaves. I always get him and Khalid El Amin confused. He was UConn a couple years later. Colorado football, B-Walk save us. Can't. You guys stink. You're the worst team in Division I. Sorry. Sucks. Julian Cesario says, love the show. Thank you. If you like the show, like it. Like it, subscribe. Appreciate it. Helps me out. Katie Stat's entire salary is based on the likes and the subscribes that this show gets. If it gets 100 per week, she eats. I'm sorry, 500 per week, she eats. Anything less, she has to clean the office until she can go home. It's not a great deal that she's on. Top 5 country western artists? Oh, God. Country western? Jeez. Top 5 country artists of my life? Alabama. Garth. Straight. Probably Alan Jackson. And then Reba, maybe? Feels like that's the top 5 of my life. Top 5 Outkast songs. Why am I doing this? I don't know. Spody Odie Dopalicious is 1. The Art of Storytelling Part 1 is 2. Rosa Parks is 3. Miss Jackson is 4. And I'm going to go Hey Ya 5. That's your top 5 Outkast songs. Gasoline Dream's also very good. That was fun. 888-STOOL-22. 888-STOOL-22 is the line to call in. I'm locking in my 5 favorite plays for the Barstool Sportsbook app this week. I'm locking in my 5 favorites. Here you go. These are the games that stick out to me. And I feel like this game at the beginning, this is my favorite bet on the Barstool Sportsbook app this week. And it's a team that their fans think I hate them. It's a team that I've told the truth about, will always tell the truth about. But there's no reason in the world the Arkansas Razorbacks should be 17.5-point dogs to Alabama. Alabama is like Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When they play a poor road game, what they do is they go out in front of the rankings, the AP Top 25, the playoff committee, everybody that watches football, they take out their deneuralizer, they hold it up, they hit the button, it has a bright light, and all of a sudden they say, no, Alabama was great that day, and we all believe it. Alabama's had 5 road games in the last 2 years. 4 of them have been nip and tuck victories despite double-digit spreads. They have 1 blowout in that span. I don't remember who it's against. But they have 5 road games over 2 years, including at Texas this year. They were they were double-digit favorites. They were double-digit favorites. They won by a point. Last year, double-digit favorites against Florida, a team so bad they fired their coach, won by 2 points. Last year, double-digit favorites against Auburn, a team with T.J. Finley at quarterback and was a mess, won by 2 points. They were a double-digit favorite at Texas A&M last year, lost by 3 to Zach Calzada. That's 4 out of 5 road games. They've been awful. Now they go to the best team they played out of that whole group, Arkansas this week. Arkansas is a solid 15-20 team. It's at Arkansas. It'll be crazy. 17.5 is too much. It's a ridiculous amount of points. Arkansas plus 17.5. I can't believe I'm getting that. Might alternate line it down to like 10. I cannot believe we're still doing this with Alabama after a 5-game road stretch that they've had. They are one of the best teams in the country. They do have the best talent. They do have the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. But they haven't been good on the road. They've proven it to us. Believe them. Please believe them. 888-STOOL-22. 888-STOOL-22. I also have 4 more. I love Arkansas plus 17.5. I love Wisconsin minus 7 against Illinois. What's going on back there? What did I just do on the... What are we doing? Cheese and crackers around here. Good Lord. Josh Pate has a tiny person back there just doing all his graphics perfectly. I'm getting somebody's cell phone notifications. Snooze says Rutgers money line lock, by the way, TJ. Chop, chop. I like Wisconsin minus 7 against Illinois. Wisconsin is untalented enough to get outclassed by the Ohio States of the world, but talented enough to really clamp down when they play Illinois. I love Wisconsin to bounce back. Wisconsin minus 7. I love Wake Forest plus 7. Florida State's a very good football team. Jordan Travis is a good quarterback, but Wake Forest is also a very good football team. 7's too much. Florida State could win a 38-35 thriller or a 41-38 thriller. I see that as a very big possibility, but I don't think they're 7 points better than Wake Forest. I like Florida State to get out of this game undefeated, but Wake Forest is going to let them know they're there. 7 points is too much. Michigan minus 11. Iowa can't score. Michigan can. Michigan minus 11. And one of my favorites, I love Arkansas plus 17.5. I also love Clemson minus 6.5 against NC State. 2 great teams, 2 great rosters, huge moment. One of these programs lives for huge moments. That's Clemson. One of them has never been in them. These players have never been in a game this bright, this big. The lights will be brighter than they've ever been for NC State on Saturday night in Clemson, South Carolina. To me, it feels like one of those shock games where NC State gets out there in this big environment, this big road game, this huge ABC, all that. Then they're down 21-0 after 8 minutes wondering what happened. And then there's a moment in the second quarter where they realize, oh, my God, we are as good as these guys. End up losing like 35-28 or something like that. This, I think Clemson jumps on them early and rides the wave. Clemson covers. Could Maryland win the Big Ten West this year? No, because they're not in it, Jack O'Connor, so they can't. So they couldn't do it.
Okay.
What's that?
He's asking you if they were in the West, would they win the West?
Well, that'd be confusing because they're on the East Coast. How would Maryland ever be on the West? That's crazy talk. Shit. You chilling, TJ?
I told you what Chiano said today.
You chilling, TJ?
The Loco was talking to me earlier.
So, what else we got? What did Chiano say today?
Somebody asked him what his expectations were for the weekend. Mm-hmm. We're playing at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He said we're going to Ohio State to win the game. All right. Our concept of this weekend is to win the game.
So we're just lying to people now? Sure.
I mean,
my concept of this weekend is to get some supermodel pussy.
Would you have rather him said we're going to lose by 25?
No, it's an impossible spot, but
Right.
it'll still be used against him.
I'll take it.
888-STOOL-22. 888-STOOL-22. Bet the East Coast unders this week. It will be underwater, so it's not bad. 888-STOOL-22. Who we got on the line here? We got some, I don't notice many of these. I don't know many of these names. Anyway, we go to Cal in Arizona's on line 1. Start us off, Cal. Start us off right.
Hey, B-Walk, King of the South. Glad to see you're doing a little bit better, buddy. But, this isn't exciting as, the big top dogs, SEC, even in the Pac-12. But what's it going to take for the Arizona Wildcats to get back to at least a top 25 ranked team? And tell me how we don't have the cleanest unis in the entire league.
Yeah, have good unis. Arizona has good color scheme. It's red, white, and blue. It's hard to fuck that up. I don't mind Arizona's uniforms. Arizona State being down in the dumps with this Herm Edwards shit, that helps you out a lot too. Listen, I think Jed Fish is recruiting at a high level. You've got a second-year quarterback who's got a lot of potential, Jaden DeLoria. He likes to run around a little bit too much, and he throws the ball up for grabs too much. But when he gets over that, you're going to have a terrific quarterback. He's recruiting good. I think Arizona's headed back to respectability. If they get there like 5-7 this year, something like that, that's a far cry from where they've been. And I think by next year you could start talking about a team that could be, could they get in there at 23 at some point in the season? Yeah. So I think Jed Fish is the right guy, and he's doing the right things. Didn't think we were going to talk about Arizona football today, but then again, I didn't think we were going to talk about Kansas football at the end of September either. And Bo in Athens wants to do just that. Hello, Bo.
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Hello, Bo.
So how far do you see Kansas and Jen Daniels going?
Are you drunk?
You what?
Are you drunk?
No.
You sounded a little drunk.
Nah. 6 o'clock on a Thursday.
Okay. Were you high?
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm worried about Kansas this weekend. Iowa State not going to be scared of the Kansas mojo all of a sudden, so we'll see. We will see. No calls from JD yet. Hopefully we will get a call from JD in St. Louis. We'll see. We will see. We will see. We will see. We go to the boy Mark in Philly. Go, Mark.
B-Walk, it's been a minute. I had a rough weekend 2 weeks ago in terms of picks calling in here. I got back on track on my own last weekend, and now I'm ready to get back to sharing winners with the wonderful listeners of this fine program. I've got 2 picks for you, and both are blue blood picks. First off, late night on Friday, I love Chip's UCLA Bruins to cover and win the damn game against Washington. Washington has had smoke blown up their ass for beating a Michigan State team that just came out and lost 34-7 to Minnesota at home and probably stinks. UCLA is laying in the weeds. No one wants to talk about them. They'll make people talk about them on Friday night, or if people probably just won't talk about them because barely anyone's going to watch the game.
I'd like to point out that Mark is right. UCLA is the obvious play on this team or on this game. The side is UCLA. It's UCLA's spot, and he's right. Washington got a whole lot of credit. Jumped all the way up to number 15 for beating a Michigan State team who might be god awful. Continue.
Terrible. Shout out Jack Mack. And then, of course, give me the Kansas Jayhawks. Give me Lance Leipold. Give me Jalen Daniels. With Notre Dame's pathetic season having very little meaning to me as a fan at this point, I've almost become an honorary Kansas football fan. I want bowl eligibility. Not to mention, Iowa State is home to the biggest fraud in college football in Matt Campbell. Rock chalk Jayhawk. They cover the spread, and they win the game.
That would be the most interesting, ideal outcome. The more Kansas wins, the more it's a story, and I love stories in college football. This one does scare me. Iowa State, good quarterback, well-coached team, even though he's not as well-coached as people would lead you to believe about Matt Campbell. You're right about that, but this is the biggest spot for Kansas this year. We'll see how quickly the culture has changed. Thank you, 888-STOOL-22. Oh, good. We have a best bet from Dakuchi. Good, because this guy, I want to say this guy's 3-0 on the show, and if you have not heard when Dakuchi from Toronto calls and talks gambling on the show, he called a couple of weeks ago, and he says, Brandon, idiot, Kansas State is going to lose to Tulane. And I said, you're wrong. You're stupid. I can't believe you're saying this. Get out of my country. Go back to Toronto. And Kansas State lost to Tulane. So when the Coochie speaks, we all fucking listen. Go Coochie.
What's going on, Brandon? Thank you for the glowing introduction. This week, I'm going to a spot that we all know and love. Fading a team after the biggest upset in the school's history. I'm going with the UTSA team to cover the 4.5 or the 4, depending on where you're getting it, against MTSU. Look, the meat boys at UTSA, they're the team that I think they can really get the job done against UTSA. MTSU, solid run defense. They run the ball well. They run a lot of power and sweep zones. And I think after a big win like that MTSU had last week, I don't think that they're going to be necessarily bringing the same type of energy to the table this week.
I would debate you and discuss against you, but you have proven yourself. You called in, I believe, maybe a Portland State or a Sacramento State earlier this year when it was nowhere on my radar. You won that one. Then you won Tulane. Now you're telling me UTSA against Middle Tennessee State. That's correct, UTSA?
Yes, sir. That's it. Sorry about that if I was cutting out again.
That is a hammer whale penis play this weekend responsibly on the Barstool Sportsbook. I'm finding UTSA when I get home tonight and betting the shit out of it because Kikuchi knows what he's talking about. It's Milkshake Thursdays. I don't know if anybody knew about that. But
Bro's slurping.
All right, you see that?
What?
I'll tell you what. Chick-fil-A just throwing out the best chicken and then the best milkshakes in the game. It ain't fair. It ain't right. Chick-fil-A just throwing 90 on both sides of the plate.
They have a new one I'm afraid to try.
What is it?
I think it's just called like the autumn milkshake or something like that.
Well, I'm sure it's delicious if they've tested it. But anyway, their limited run peach milkshake they have about once a month every year is one of the best things you can get at a fast food restaurant in America. Shout out to Chick-fil-A, no free ads. We go to Peyton in the city of Clemson, which is, I believe, in the state of South Carolina.
Hey, Brandon. Hair looks good. So I want to talk about Dabo and the slander that he's getting for running down the hill after he's touching the rock. All right. So it begins when the players and Dabo meet at the top of the hill, correct?
Yep.
And then Dabo touches the rock, runs down the hill as the cannons shoot.
Sure.
There's at least 50 people behind him that have to wait to touch the rock and then to run down the hill.
Yep.
So obviously he's going to run down first. Now I understand how you can call us a cult in Clemson for Dabo, which that is fair.
And true, yeah.
I'll be damned if you wouldn't take Dabo on your team and anyone else in the country who slanders him.
Blah, 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 blah. You're right. Blah, blah, blah. Hold on. You're right. Dabo is the second best team in college, second best coach in college football right now. Dabo Swinney is the second best coach, and the only reason he's not first is because the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban, is in his way. But Dabo is an elite of the elite of the elite coach, and no program across the country wouldn't take Dabo's success. However, if you're going to be a character like Dabo, an absolutely phony character that puts Dabo first at all times, if you're going to be that, you have to wear it sometimes. And Clemson fans get mad. You want your cake and you want to eat it too. You want all the success that Dabo brings you without any of the grief that Dabo gets because he acts so goofy. No. Clemson has had how many coaches, how many players over the last hundreds of years? Or 100 years? How many? A lot. How many of those coaches have made sure they run 75 yards in front of their team so they can be the one that runs out of the tunnel to the loudest ovation? Dabo has turned that touching the rock and running onto the field as a coach into the most glorified, look at me, I'm Dabo, I'm great moment in the history of football. That's just the truth. He's a great coach. You guys are lucky to have him. He's also a show-off and a phony, and you need to wear that.
I'm slightly aware of it, and I'll take it. because I have 2 national championships that he's brought to this great city of South Carolina.
Okay, first, not a great city. You got like the 2 Taco Bells. That's all you got. Anyway, it's fine. But I just beat you, and I made you submit to an argument in seconds. Seconds, Peyton. I think I now run Clemson. I changed that guy's mind in seconds. How's everybody doing? What is the gender of Casey Smith's baby? Correct. It sure is. Would you take Dabo over Kirby if Saban retired tomorrow and you had your choice? It would be a tough choice. I would probably take Dabo, but it would be very close. Oh, that's a nice tweet from Casey Smith. To be honest, I don't deserve a raise because I just got a fucking sick raise a couple of months ago. I mean, goddamn. To the point where I look around the company and it's like, oh, they can't give many people what I got because, whoo, I now make $6,200 a month. So, suck on that. How much would Minnesota be favored by if they played Mississippi State? Well, they wouldn't be favored if they played in Starkville. If they played in Minnesota, probably about 4.5, 5. Will there be a stream for the state game Saturday? Yes. Me and my side piece, baby mama Casey Smith, will be streaming the Texas A&M game on Saturday. I'm gonna have me another sip of milkshake. I'm gonna suck on this stamen like there's no tomorrow. That's a Family Guy, Bruce. Oh, I'm excited. I'm just excited because I met somebody today. Somebody that likes the same literature I like. I love Bruce. They killed Zeus. Oh, that's Alan's dog. Nothing? Nobody? I'm here by myself? Fine. Whatever. We go to line 6. Jackson is in Meridian, Mississippi, which is home to my favorite pizza restaurant in Mississippi. It's out on Highway 19. It's called Nick and Al's New York Style Pizza, and it is unbelievable. Hello. What was your name again? Jackson in Meridian.
What's up, B-Walk?
How you doing?
Yeah, Nick and Al's is great, man. We eat there a lot. Place is gas. I'm a fellow Mississippian, and I'm an Ole Miss fan, so don't hang up on me. But first of all, good luck to your Bulldogs this weekend. I wanted to ask how you feel about the Rebels, Kentucky. I don't know why, but I'm pretty damn worried about it.
You should not be worried about this game. Lane Kiffin went and he got down on his knees and he begged you guys to show up to the game. So it's going to be full, it's going to be packed, it's going to be loud, or as loud as Walt Hemingway can be. And you're playing a team who's not as good as Ole Miss. I would love for Kentucky to go down there and beat Ole Miss. I really would. I'm being honest. I would love for that to happen. But I know football. I watch football. I can tell when somebody's got a good coach and a good team. The better coach in this matchup is Lane Kiffin, and the better team is Ole Miss. They're going to win the game, and then they will become – Kentucky's a fraud top 10 team. Kentucky should not be number 7 in the country. They should be like number 17. Ole Miss is probably like 13 or 14, somewhere in there. That's about the right number for them. But if they win, they're going to go up to like 6 or 7, which is ridiculous. So this is going to be a fraud game a little bit, but Ole Miss is going to win it. I think they're going to win it pretty comfortably.
Heck yeah. Well, one more question. Do you think there's any SEC team that can make the playoff other than Georgia and Bama?
No, I don't. Because the SEC West is too good. Say A&M's the second best team, like they might lose this Saturday at Mississippi State. Everybody can beat everybody. Outside of Vanderbilt, Missouri, I think that the SEC is a bunch of decent teams that are all about the same, and Georgia, Alabama. I don't see how anybody in the SEC West can get through with 1 or 2 losses because you're already going to lose to Alabama pretty much. So I just don't like Ole Miss, for example. You guys are good enough to beat State. But are you good enough to go to Arkansas and win and good enough to go to LSU and win? I don't know the answer to either of those questions. I would lean towards maybe splitting those games. So, no, I don't think anybody outside of Georgia, Alabama has a chance at the playoff. 888 Stool 22. We go to Thomas in Chicago. Go.
Hey, Brandon. I got office trivia for you, and then I got questions about this week's slate, and then an overall question. So, office trivia. Everyone in the office is mad at Darrow for leaving them behind, but then he gives them one thing that they all can do together. What is the one thing that everyone comes up to do with him?
They all just want to dance. He gives them
Ding ding.
He gives them a dance. I believe it's the next to last episode, maybe the next to last episode. It's one of my favorite little Daryl storylines. First of all, Daryl, just a top tier character, underrated character. He's fantastic, but he ends up having a dance with them, and even like he has the cowboy rope thing with Toby and stuff like that. Good question. Any Daryl Philbin questions? Always welcome.
And then I was just looking at the slate. Do you think does this week for like Utah to like get kind of like be exposed of who they actually are and kind of like a fraudulent team and like someone like Oklahoma State, or do you think they're just going to keep doing their thing?
I think this week they're probably going to keep doing their thing. I think this is an outstanding week for people to look at what Utah does and think they're back. They're as good as we thought they would be. Oregon State coming off the home game against USC where they barely lost. They were in it. They had the lead late, and emotionally they let it get away from them. And Utah is just a tough place to go, period. No matter how you're doing, how they're doing, it's a tough place to go. I fear that Utah is going to put the screws to Oregon State this week and really kind of sneak back into that top 10 line. Thank you very much for the call, 888-STOOL-22. TJ, how's your life going?
I can't complain right now. I'm doing all right.
What model truck did Daryl drive? Well, he drove multiple trucks, I believe. Multiple trucks. At one point, he had Toyota Tacoma, I think, but then he had a Ford F-150, maybe? I wish I had a truck. Or a Jeep. A good, pimped-out looking Jeep. I'm probably going to buy a Jeep when I move back home next year. 888
Wrangler?
Yeah, Jeep Wrangler. When I met my wife, I had a 95 Jeep Wrangler in 2005, and I loved it so much. Never put the top on it. Me and Biggin would just ride around. That was my dog, not my wife.
You do the wave to people?
No, I didn't care about anybody else driving a Jeep.
Driving a Wrangler, you have to other Wranglers.
No, I understand, but I didn't care about that.
Cocky ass.
Just relax. 888-STOOL-22. Tulane moved the ball on Ole Miss. You don't think Kentucky can move the ball with the best running back in the SEC back? Well, the thing about Tulane moving the ball on Ole Miss, Kentucky fan, is Tulane probably would have had to play Ole Miss to move the ball on them. So, not really the point you're trying to make, because Ole Miss and Tulane haven't played, you dumb fucking hillbilly. God, why do I get dumb people here? What an idiot. 888-STOOL-22. Nick in the state of Illinois. Hello.
What's up, Brandon? Wanted to touch on, you mentioned a peach milkshake from Chick-fil-A. What is your favorite limited time entree item in the fast food world?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. Burger King used to do an Italian chicken sandwich. That was just a breaded chicken sandwich with marinara sauce, and then for some reason it was one of my favorites. Hardee's used to have the Frisco Burger as a part-time thing, and it was so good that they put it on the list. But Frisco Burger might have been my first favorite fast food limited time thing. The Pizzone at Pizza Hut a couple years ago. I don't know if they add that to their menu, but the Pizzone was a good limited time thing. But my all-time favorite, and I don't know if they ever do it anymore, but every now and then Wendy's would bring out the Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich, which was just a chicken sandwich with cheese and ranch on top, and it was fucking delightful. Now they have like an Asiago chicken ranch sandwich on there, and it's just not the same. But that was always my favorite. What's your favorite limited run fast food thing?
I think, have you ever had a rodeo burger from Burger King?
Yeah, with an onion ring and barbecue sauce on it.
Yes, that's like kind of limited, I would say. It's never like really on the menu, but that'd be my play.
Yeah, it's not bad, and it's even the chat's doing something that stupid chat people do. Oh, he said Burger King gross. Anybody that says Burger King is gross can go fuck themselves. It's fine. It's good. It's a solid fast food. You don't go to a Burger King expecting a 7-star meal. Same with Arby's. You guys act like you don't like Arby's. Nobody don't like Arby's. What else you got? Anything else? Oh, the McRib. I didn't say the McRib. I love the McRib.
Yeah, that's solid too. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get your thoughts on LSU. I love this game. I think that this is a Brian Kelly showcase game. I love LSU. Wanted to get your thoughts. king of the SEC.
You love them against Auburn, laying the 9 or 10 points, or do you love
9?
Or do you love them in general?
I kind of love them in general, and
Yeah, I kind of do too. I think the way they beat us, the way they got off the mat and beat us, they lost South Carolina or Florida State, and they might be decent. And they got some decent home games coming up. Like they have Tennessee at home next week. They might shock them too. So that's LSU's something to watch right now. Jeremy in Ohio, go.
What's going on, Brandon? Yeah, anybody who doesn't like BK is definitely a weirdo. And so I was watching the Tennessee-Florida game, and Tennessee looks like a playoff team to me. I don't know. I feel like their defense is just good enough. It pains me to say it, but am I overhyping them? What do you think? What's your read?
No, you're overhyping them. You say the defense is good enough. Well, guess what? The defense would be good enough, but let's logically look at their schedule. Their defense made Anthony Richardson look good. Florida hung around all night. Florida scored 33 points. That's fun. That's fine. You get through. You're still a top 10 team. But to be a playoff team, you have to get through 11-1 or undefeated. They have Bryce Young in Alabama. They have Stetson Bennett and Georgia on the schedule. So how's that defense going to get them to 11-1 or 10-2 or 11-1 or undefeated when they're not very good and they play two of the better quarterbacks and offenses in the country?
Yeah, I totally get your point, but I mean, we've seen it in the past where a number 2 offense, number 1 offense can make it to the playoffs, like Oklahoma or Ohio State that one year.
Yeah, but Oklahoma and Ohio State could do it. They could hide in a bad conference. They didn't have to play Georgia and Alabama in the conference. And Tennessee's got a shitty schedule because they have to play both. That sucks.
Yeah, Georgia almost. I mean, they hung around with fucking Kent State, and
fair enough.
I feel like Tennessee.
And Alabama
could beat them, but I get your point.
And Alabama's bad on the road, and they play Tennessee in Knoxville, so who knows? How's your life going, TJ?
I missed the grilled stuffed nacho at Taco Bell. I thought that was really good. It's like a big triangle thing.
I just don't eat a lot of Taco Bell.
Which always surprises me, but you did eat like a pretty mild piece of chicken today, and you're kind of having an aneurysm about how spicy it was.
You told me it was spicy.
I told you the first piece was not spicy at all. The second piece had some spice on it.
It was spicy. I call it all spice, and it was spicy. And I don't like spicy food. Somebody says Little Caesars. I never eaten Little Caesars much. You gotta understand where I'm from. It's a very small town. We didn't have every fast food joint. Like I never had a Little Caesars. I think they got one in my hometown now after I left. But I had Pizza Hut. I had Domino's. I had Sonic, Hardee's, Subway, McDonald's, Wendy's. We had a Burger King for a couple of years, then it closed, and then it came back. They didn't get a Taco Bell till after I left. They didn't get an Arby's until after I left. They didn't get a Captain D's till after I left. And all that stuff's out by my house, too. All that stuff's out by my house.
Remember the double down at KFC?
Was that the sandwich between two chicken pieces?
It was a bacon and cheese sandwich in between two chicken
That one didn't
breasts.
last. That one didn't last that long.
It had virality though. It went huge on like the news.
Are there any fast food places you've never been, Brandon? I've never been to White Castle. And until last February when TJ took me, I'd never been to In-N-Out. Me and TJ broke my virginity for that one. It was good. It was fine. Who actually eats Captain D's? My grandfather, when he was still alive, the way I learned to drive was when I was 14, he would tell me, "You're driving me to Captain D's in Starkville tonight." And I would drive the 20 miles to take this old man to Captain D's. We would eat, and I'd drive back. I've probably eaten Captain D's 200 times in my life, all with that man. Today's my dad's birthday, by the way, and I just realized it last show. It sucks. 888 Stool 22. Can you imagine if wrestling came back and under a different name, just had a huge new life? God. Cody in Lansing, hello.
Hey, B-Walk, how are you?
So fucking good. How are you?
I'm good. My question is, Wolf Monterey chicken sandwich at Wendy's. That shit was the GOAT.
It was incredible.
If you were an up-and-coming G, Brandon 5, Auburn, and have to deal with or do you go to Nebraska and hopefully, if you got your shit together, walk through the west and go.
Okay, I think I got enough of that call to figure out what he was saying. If I was an up-and-coming coach that could have my choice, would I go to Nebraska or Auburn? I'm going to go to Auburn. As crazy as they are and as batshit as their boosters are and as corrupt as they are, they know how to win. They've won a national title in the last 12 years. They've been to another national title in the last 10 years. They will get you the players. They will get you the players. Nebraska, I don't know if they can still get you the players. 888 Stool 22. Brandon's great-great-great-grandfather's plantation was known as the White Castle. We didn't have a plantation. We were quite poor. Quite poor. I was quite poor until very recently. Now I ain't. Now I ain't. USC by 70 over ASU? No. We go to Macon, Mississippi, which is the first time this show has ever done that. Macon, Mississippi, the crown jewel of Noxubee County, home of the Tigers. And we go to my friend Michael Taylor. Go ahead, Michael.
My good friend and prestigious colleague, the great Brandon Captain Walker. I won't say the F word, sir. I apologize.
That's okay. I understand.
My good friend. I got to tell you, my good sir, when I ran into you in the great state of Mississippi, for all you college football maniacs bragging about your bullshitting ass team, y'all aren't even in the best state. Mississippi is the best damn state. If y'all got a problem with it, take it up with the king of college football, which is Brendan effing Walker. Is that right, Brandon?
Well, that's right, but don't put everybody on my plate. Jesus. Okay, but I will handle it. It is everybody's saying it's a terrible state. You've never been there. For those who have, God bless you. What else you got?
I wanted to tell you, my sweet mama, you remember meeting her at the Gator Bowl?
Oh, sure do.
Oh, yes, sir. My wife, who was there also with me at 44 Prime that night when I saw you, and afterwards I didn't want to, bother you while you were at the restaurant because you were having a romantic supper with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Brandon, you married quite well, my good sir. Married very well, I'll say.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Absolutely. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, just give a shout-out to my wife. Her name is Ashley Thomas Taylor. If you'll do that, I'll be mighty, mighty, mighty happy, my good friend. Hail State and go Dogs.
Hail State, go Dogs, and shout out to, did you say that your wife's name is Thomas Taylor?
Ashley Thomas Taylor. Yeah.
Ashley Thomas Taylor. I got it. I thought you meant actually Thomas Taylor. I was like, okay. Ashley Thomas Taylor, you and I go way back. Shout out to you. Shout out to Mississippi State. Shout out to everybody down south, but especially you, Ashley Thomas Taylor. You're the best. Thank you, Michael. Lovely people. Lovely people. And yes, I saw him at 44 Prime, which is a steakhouse in Starkville, owned by Roy Oswalt, former Houston Astros great Roy Oswalt. Delicious. Expensive, but delicious. 88 Stool 22.
Is that why they named it 44?
I don't know. I don't think he was number 44, though. Was he? Was he number? I don't think he was. Maybe. He has two restaurants. One's called Taste and one's called 44 Prime. And they're both delicious. 88 Stool 22. I will shout out any of your wives because I've... Sam in St. Louis, go.
Yeah, Brandon. I got a question and a hot take. My hot take is Mizzou will cover and possibly beat Georgia this week. They are honoring Gary Pinkel. He dominated the SEC East. I don't know if you remember that. And then my question being, who will go to the East and West when Oklahoma and Texas join the SEC?
Well, the thing is, I think they're getting rid of the East and West, as other conferences have done and are doing. I think Pac-12's already done it, but I don't think we're going to have an East and West very soon. I think we're going to have pods of 4. I'll be interested to see who Missouri ends up with. I would assume Arkansas. I don't know who Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. I don't know what pod that would be, although that would be a weak pod. So we'll figure it all out. And Missouri beating Georgia. I mean, God bless you for believing. You're falling into the same trap we all do. On Saturday, you're depressed about whatever happened, and then by next Saturday, you think you can conquer the world. God bless you. Godspeed to the Missouri Tigers, but it ain't gonna go well. 888-STOOL-22. Dun, 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 dun. Also, we have an hour every night. Are we wasting? How are we wasting calls with Missouri? 888-STOOL-22. This is WD in St. Louis, and not to be confused with JD. I think. Go WD.
Brando, it's me.
Why'd you put WD, TJ?
Must have been a typo.
So this is JD from St. Louis.
Yeah, how you doing, old boy?
I'm fine. I gotta talk to my people real quick, JD, and then you've got the show for a little bit. You ready? Guys, the J and the W are not even close to each other on the fucking keyboard. Not even close.
He said, people have been DMing me saying I need to call in. If you need me to go in incognito, you could say my name is WD.
All right, JD, you pulled a fast one. Go ahead.
I like being tricky sometimes. No, but let's cut to the chase real quick. I do want to make some guidelines here. I feel like we're developing a relationship, but I wasn't going to call in today. I wanted to let it breathe, my friend. I wasn't going to call till I gave you updates. But I got clips from the beginning of the show that you hoped I called today, so that's the only reason why I called.
Well, I mean, I don't have any.
Controlling the show.
Oh, JD. I mean, listen. Just because somebody out there, because you heard in the hallway that I might have liked you a little bit, and that doesn't mean you should just have to call me. I mean, you got to work a little bit harder for it than that, buddy. I mean, I didn't care if you called. It's not that big of a deal that you called me. I'm fine.
Okay, well, I do have a couple of questions and things I want to ask you about.
Go.
Okay, I do want to ask a little bit. When you were growing up and you talk about how you grew up in a trailer park, are those trailers that are like mobile? Can you hook those up and like as a kid, would you go from different neighborhoods to different like trailer parks, or were you always stationary in like one location? I want to learn about that.
Well, it's a good question. It's a good question, JD. I will correct you. I never said I lived in a trailer park. I just said I lived in a trailer. So what happened was my Uncle Doug, good guy, my mom's brother, gave my mom a trailer, and we lived out in the very, very country. We were out in a pasture of about 40 acres, just a trailer out there. And then when my mom and dad got back together between 1989 and 91, they were split. But when they got back together, they took a truck to the trailer, they hitched it up, and they took it down to south of West Point and Truman Creek Road, which is where they put the trailer, and we lived for another 4 or 5 years. So the trailer moved once, but it's not something that you moved often. You just moved it, you would put it on some property, let somebody live there, and then if you sell it, hitch it up, take it somewhere else.
So how many people were sleeping in the same bed you were sleeping in as a kid?
Well, I was an only child till I was 16. You got to understand that. See, I did not have a brother or a sister, so my parents slept on one end of the trailer, and the dog slept in the middle, and I slept on the other end in my own bedroom. So I slept by myself. Now, when I was 15 and my mother became pregnant with my sister, my dad moved us into a family home, which was an actual house, to which I now own that house myself.
You had a dog?
I did. I had a lot of dogs back then. I had a basset hound named Peanut. I had a basset hound named Bo. I had some mixed breeds named Chester and Thelma Lou. We had a lot of dogs coming through the Walker house, especially when we lived in a trailer. We were quite trashy.
Oh, wow. I had a dog.
Yeah, but you got rid of him. You got rid of him because you thought he gave you bad vibes in gambling.
Responsibly. Okay, and then another thing I wanted to warn you about you shouldn't do. Getting a Jeep Wrangler. Okay, so every dude's want to have a Jeep Wrangler once in their life. It's that great of a vehicle. I actually do suggest the Tacoma. Toyotas last forever. It's a great vehicle. It'll be nice to have a truck. I think that's a better fit for you than a Jeep Wrangler.
Well, I understand the concern, JD, but I will pull up a defense here. I've had a Jeep Wrangler before. I understand what it's like to own a Jeep Wrangler. I had a used Jeep Wrangler back then. I would like to have a new one now, a four-door. I know how to handle a Jeep. I know how to take the top off. I know how to put the top on. I'm good with that. And Toyota Tacomas are nice, pretty vehicles, but if I was going to get a truck, I'd get a man's truck. I feel like a Tacoma's a boy's truck.
I'm sorry, I was trying to say this nicely, but I feel like your head would be sticking out of the top of a Jeep, and you're just getting bugs to the teeth, bugs to the eyes. You just get hit in the face. I can just picture young Brandon Walker in that Jeep. It was just boom, 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 like a giraffe's in the car.
It's it's a concern. It's a valid concern, but I was able to put the seat down. I was able to keep my head inside the vehicle. It wasn't like a whack-a-mole situation where I was sticking up over the windshield all the time. So thank you for the concern. Anything else?
Last question, and then I'll go. What did you have for dinner last night?
Last night I got home. What did I have for dinner last night? My wife made me chicken breast and Asian noodles.
I had chicken thighs. I became a thigh guy like 2 months ago in the crock pot. Not crock pot, cast iron. I'm loving it. But all right, you enjoy and who you got tonight? I know it was college. What do you got on NFL? Bengals? You got Bengals?
I got the Bengals, yeah. Yeah, Bengals. Thank you very much, JD. All right.
Square.
All right, that was something. He's right. He probably shouldn't call that much. He should probably call like twice a week, maybe once a week.
I like him.
I do too.
Katie doesn't.
Why am I getting KD plus JD equals hearts? Oh. 888 Stool 22. We go to line 4, which is actually a 3. Austin in Dubuque, Iowa. That sounds lovely. Hello, Austin.
Hey, Brandon. I love you dearly. I love wrestling.
Thank you.
I know you are a big stickler on the opposite of Iowa itself.
Yeah.
The Iowa Hawkeyes. I know you love Iowa State.
Sure.
I do love you dearly. A big wrestling fan. I enjoy you. Biggest thing I want to ask you, what do you think about this week in Iowa versus Michigan?
Well, it's definitely one of those games where if you looked up at 3 o'clock and told me Michigan's in a dogfight with Iowa, I wouldn't be shocked. Excuse me. Iowa is a team that I think we buried a little too fast in the grand scheme of things. They lost to Iowa State. They couldn't score there for a while, and we acted like, oh, my God, this team's done. They also won a road game with 27 points last week. So if their defense is legit elite, if their offense can do anything, and I mean anything, they can be in this game. However, I know I can trust J.J. McCarthy to score at least 3 touchdowns against any defense. I think they're that good offensively with their personnel, Michigan is, and I don't know that I can trust Iowa to score. Wouldn't be shocked if this is close, but I would lean Michigan.
All right. I have no difference between that, just due to the fact that our offense sucks. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Shout out wrestling.
Thank you. All right, Austin. Thank you very much. 888 Stool 22. Why are we so big in St. Louis? That's like the 4th St. Louis I got coming up in a minute. We go to second straight call, and we'll talk about this game. Trey in Illinois, go.
Hey, Brandon. Yeah, I was going to ask you about Iowa and Michigan, but Austin kind of took the wind out of my sails. So I guess I'll ask you, Brett Bielema is making his return to Madison on Saturday. How do you think he's going to be received in Madison? You think they're going to boo him? Do you think they've already forgotten because they've had so much success since he left anyway?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a booing relationship between Wisconsin and Brett Bielema. Maybe there is. He did leave to go to Arkansas some years ago. He failed. He went out and failed and has now climbed back to Illinois. But I don't know that Wisconsin feels like they're going to boo him, but maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe they're going to be vicious towards him. I feel like he gave them some good years. They gave him some good years. Shake his hand, beat his ass. That's what you do. And I do think Wisconsin is poised to beat his ass this weekend.
Damn, didn't want to hear that. I drank the Kool-Aid on Bielema. I think they're gonna give Wisconsin their money's worth.
I could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. But Wisconsin to me is a team that if they're outflanked and out-athleted, they look terrible like they did against Ohio State. But if they're not, they look very good. So 888 Stool 22. Walker, do you talk to Troops TV? 'Troops TV? Thoughts on Dave getting into soccer? I mean, Dave, good for Dave. Is it Tottenham guy? I think are they doing a stream this week? Tottenham and Arsenal?
I mean, they're supposed to, but
There's a hurricane?
right.
There's a hurricane down
Which
there.
It sounds like the Tampa Bay game, which is the only NFL game that would have moved, is not going to move. So,
Sure.
I mean, we'll see.
I think on Sunday in Miami is going to be, or Saturday in Miami is going to be fine.
Yeah, but some of the areas down there on the coastline have been, like, really destroyed. I've seen some crazy pictures of, like, the highway being gone.
Yeah. We go to Craig in Chicago, the Music City. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah, Missouri's been in 2 SEC title games. Mississippi State's only been 1. How many years longer have they been in for?
Many more years.
Also, Jeep Wranglers are gay. You're a fag.
Damn it. I didn't get his number. Let's make sure we get that number next time. I want to be able to tell people what it is. And I will tell people what it is. If he ever calls back in, I will tell you what that guy's number was. That is my promise to you. It's a call-in show. We allow you to call in and talk. A lot of you are capable of calling in and talking fun trash. Some of you are like that piece of shit. Don't be that piece of shit. That's the kind of shit that ruins stuff. That's the kind of shit that just every Barstool hater that has a website or a byline in a newspaper would see something like that and just turn this whole thing to gravy. Like that. God damn it, I wish I'd looked at his phone number. Austin in South Carolina, go.
B90X, all baby.
Thank you. What's up?
So, want to talk a little Gator football. AR-15, what you think about them?
I don't know what to think. One week he's fucking beating Utah and being awesome. The next week he's barely beating South Florida, and he goes 3 weeks without throwing a touchdown pass, and then he goes to Tennessee, and he looks like one of the most elite quarterbacks. He's a guy that can be one of the best quarterbacks in the country one week and one of the worst the next. I don't know what to think. What do you think?
I think he's the most physically gifted player on any field in the country.
Fair enough.
But that doesn't equate to production.
It equates to flashes of brilliance, but it doesn't equate to consistent brilliance.
My second question
Okay.
is who is your favorite player during the Urban Meyer era?
I mean, I was a big Percy Harvin guy. I mean, that guy was, you look back at those Florida teams and you talk about Tebow and you talk about other guys, but Percy Harvin was the engine. I mean, he was the gas that fueled the engine. He was elite and excellent and just so fun to fucking watch. They could get him involved in so many ways. I was a Percy Harvin guy.
Yeah, that kind of shocks me because I agree with you, but that shocks me because you strike me as an Aaron Hernandez type of guy.
You think that joke was funny?
Kind of.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. That was not good. These last 2 callers have really, really hurt my thoughts and hurt my opinion of the callers in the call-in show. This guy's calling from 864. I'll stop there on him. I mean, that was bad. What? Can somebody help me end this week on a good note? Can somebody help me end this night on a good note? That's 2 shitty calls in a row. I don't mind you talking shit, doing a joke. Be good at it. I'll let JD call and talk for 10 minutes on bullshit because he's interesting. I mean, fuck. Oh, I thought you'd be an Aaron Hernandez guy. At least be able to say it. Line 5. Jesus. Really? Owen in St. Louis, go.
I was wondering why the line with the Indiana-Nebraska game is the way it is. Indiana is a 5.5-point underdog against Nebraska is awful. So I was wondering if you had any insight there and which way you'd lean if you were betting that game.
I mean, if somebody made me bet that game, I think I'd quit. Thanks for the call. Gross. You're not making me talk about Indiana-Nebraska. It's like watching old people fuck. 888. Have I ever been to Bryant-Denny, T-Town, Alabama? Yeah, multiple times. Went in 99, went in 14, went in 97. Multiple times I've been there. It's nothing to it. Not much to it. Line 6. Hopefully these last two guys that we have. Ross, go ahead. In Baton Rouge, go ahead.
What's up, B-Walk? Big fan. I just wanted to – I heard a guy call a couple of minutes ago saying that he loved LSU, I think, like -8, -9. I wanted to see what your take on it because it kind of scares me a little bit. I mean, LSU hadn't really proved much so far this year. I don't really think offensive-wise to be given that many points, especially Jaden Daniels' first road game in the SEC at Auburn.
Yeah. Well, my only thing about –
last couple of years, they haven't really played – well against Auburn. Like, I think in 2019, I want to say we only won by like 3.
Yeah.
It was one of the only games.
Well, I mean, you were up 23. You were up 23-13, and they scored a meaningless touchdown late. So that was a phony. Short. But anyway, that was 2019. This is this year, and Auburn is a special type of bad. LSU is going through a transition. Has great talent, and you never know. They were bad against Florida State. They were good against us. They were really good against us in the second half. I think the more they play together, the more they go down the road together, they're going to be better and better and better. Whereas Auburn is just their coach is dead. They're a dead coach walking. I think LSU wins this and wins it handily, and somebody puts Brian Harsin out of his misery. 888 still 22. We have time for maybe one or two more. I got to get the best subject here. Alex in Tallahassee, go.
Brandon Walker, the Socrates of college football. How we doing, baby?
I think it's Socrates, but continue.
Listen, Percy Harvin was a hell of a player. I don't know what they say on that end of the phone. We only hear you when we're waiting. But as a Florida State fan, old Mercy Percy is what they used to call him on the radio, the Gators radio. And that joker, one of the most underrated ball players at Florida for sure.
Well, what this caller brilliantly came up with as his joke was, who's your favorite Florida player under Urban Meyer? I said Percy Harvin. He said, well, really? I thought you would have been more like an Aaron Hernandez guy. That was his joke.
Jesus. Well, got a whole lot to cover with you tonight. First of all, a former trailer resident as well, single wide.
Yeah.
Played college baseball, lived in a little trailer. It's a great experience. Everybody should go through it. Most of those New Yorkers up there don't know about it, but
sure.
Captain D's also 15-piece butterfly shrimp. You need to take TJ if y'all got one up there to go get him a damn butterfly shrimp from Captain D's.
Talking my language. We got a minute and 15 seconds left. Go.
All right. I love Mississippi State this year. One of my favorite teams. Y'all's quarterback is doing a damn good job. But that schedule y'all have is absolutely god-awful.
Yep.
I thought our 3-game stretch against Clemson, NC State, and Wake is terrible. Good God. Y'all need to – they need to do some realigning or something, man. Because Mississippi State, I mean, y'all look good on paper and look great, play well together. But, dear Lord, that schedule, brother.
Yeah, we play Alabama and Georgia this year. That's fun.
Yeah. No good at all. But
land this plane. What you got?
I'm being fast. I'm so sorry these Florida State fans are being self-conscious. It's terrible. This is the post-Jimbo era fans. This is not the Bobby Bowden fans. I know you've respected Florida State through this whole process, and we appreciate you, man. You are the fucking GOAT.
All right, thank you very much. See, that's good energy. Alex from Tallahassee knows how to end the week on a good note. Thank you very much, Alex. You're the fucking man. Everybody's right.
Thank you, Brandon. Love you.
I thought you were gone. Yeah, you too. Man, I have one guy I wanted to get, but we're out of time. We got to go. I got to get on the train. All right, mini golf finale up next on Barstool Sports channels. We'll see you next week.